On a site in Egypt, archaeologists found more than 100 such mummies that were not of humans, but of crocodiles. There was something written on the coffin of these crocodile mummies, which the experts were surprised and worried after reading and understanding. Welcome to Historical Stories videos again. Viewers, when people used to die in ancient Egypt thousands of years ago, they used to apply chemicals and preserve them so that their bodies do not deteriorate over time. After preserving, the mummy was also decorated according to its level or its age, and then it was buried in the ground or in a tomb. Although archaeologists have found many mummies from Egypt, but the 7 mummies you'll know today were those mummies that when seen for the first time, it was very difficult to believe for experts and archaeologists. So let's start. Lady Rai, one such woman's mummy, is also found in the oldest mummies of ancient Egypt, which has been named Lady Rai today. About 140 years ago, this mummy was found in the Theban tomb area of Egypt, which amazed archaeologists. Research found that Lady Rai died at the age of about 35 years, 3,550 years ago, and it seemed that she was an ancient queen's nurse or maid. But what shocked archaeologists was Lady Rai's hair. Even after thousands of years, Lady Rai's hair was still well preserved. In fact, there were some parts of her hair that seemed to have come out only a few months ago. The hairstyle with which Lady Rai was preserved in that ancient era, that hairstyle is still decorated in the same way. Ramses II was the most famous leader of ancient Egypt. In contrast to the kings of other Egypt, Ramses II held his throne for a very long time, and when he died, he was 90 years old. Ramses II's pharaoh was found in a small village of Saqqara in Egypt in 1881. This is the place where only ancient kings, queens, or the upper class were buried. The archaeologists who excavated the mummy said that just as Ramses II was powerful in his time, even after thousands of years, his mummy was still powerful. No one knows the exact, but you will be surprised to know that according to research and DNA tests, Ramses II was the father of 150 children. In 1974, it was noticed that Ramses II's mummy was rotting. For this reason, it was immediately decided to take his mummy to Paris, where she would be treated. But according to international law, whether a person is alive or dead, it is necessary to have a passport to cross the border. For this reason, Egypt issued the passport Ramses II in, which he was given the rank of king. Remember that this was the first passport in the world which was issued for a dead person. Even while landing in Paris, Ramses II's mummy was given full military honor. Tutankhamun, or King Tut, not only were the seekers surprised to find this pharaoh, but Tutankhamun's mummy surprised archaeologists all over the world. Tutankhamun's mummy, which was locked in a room, was found 20 feet below the ground. Tutankhamun was the youngest king of ancient Egypt, who had so much power at the age of 9. His mummy was found in a tomb in Kings Valley in 1922, where countless treasures were also buried along with the mummy. And for this reason, Tutankhamun's mummy shocked the whole world. It was believed about this king's tomb that there are some souls and spirits in it who are saving this mummy and treasure. Lord Canavan was the person who funded the search of Tutankhamun's tomb. Surprisingly, a few days after King Tut's mummy was found, Lord Canavan died of mosquito bite. Crocodile Mummy and archaeologist team was working in an ancient city of Amalberjat. In Egypt, their target was to find mummies or buried treasures. But their hopes were shattered when they found more than 100 mummies from this place that were not of humans, but of crocodiles. Thousands of years old crocodiles, which were preserved with great skill. The archaeologist was not able to understand why crocodiles were preserved instead of humans. But later, some things were found from these crocodiles' coffins, which had something written on them. And then the game of this mystery turned upside down. The archaeologist was more interested in the writing than the crocodiles, which was written on every crocodile's coffin. Finally, thousands of years ago, what was the relationship between ancient Egyptians and these crocodiles, and why were they preserved with so much respect? The answers to these questions were in the writing, which was written on the crocodile's coffin. Research showed that ancient Egyptians believed that crocodiles were gods because for them, crocodiles were a symbol of power. In that ancient era, ancient Egyptians also made such puppets whose head was like a crocodiles and the lower part was like a human's. Gazelles' mummies, not only crocodiles, were those animals whose mummies were found in Egypt. In fact, archaeologists have also found mummies of many deer. The mummy of this deer, which you are seeing, died approximately 3,000 years ago, and it seems that it was a deer raised by a queen. When the archaeologists found this deer during the excavation, he was surprised to see that along with the king and queen, the deer was also buried in a very royal way. That is, the way kings and queens were used to preserve. This deer was also preserved with the same glory and put in a royal coffin. All the mummies found by the archaeologists were covered with resin so that the body does not deteriorate over time. But Australian archaeologists were surprised when they found a mummy which was not covered with resin but was covered with mud. This mummy was of a woman who died at the age of about 25. But there was something else on its coffin other than mud that put the archaeologists in suspense. The lab test found that this mummy was 3,000 years old, but the soil around it was laid many years after its death. After research, it was found that this mummy belonged to a poor woman who could not afford resin. So it was preserved with soil. But why was the soil laid on it many years after its death is still a question mark for archaeologists. Mummy with tattoo getting tattoos on the body is considered fashion in today's modern era. But in ancient times, tattoos were also very important. At the Dar el-Medina site in Egypt, archaeologists have found 7 such mummies with tattoos on their bodies. More than 30 tattoos were seen on a mummy's body. Archaeologists say that they have never seen tattoos on mummies before, but it would not be wrong to say that tattoos were also very important in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egyptians, who were masters of decorating their tombs, from the King's Valley to the hidden chamber inside the Giza Pyramid. Everywhere we see only decoration. It is possible that these 7 mummies, who had tattoos on their bodies, were wall artists in that era and had a full role in decorating the chambers of the King's Valley. I hope you will like and share this video of Historical Stories. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next video.